And then once you find yourself there, if it feels okay in your body to let your eyes close, let your eyes shut down. You might choose to keep a soft gaze forward towards the wall or onto the floor. And start to settle into your body. And start to settle into your breath. And without shifting anything, and that might be body-wise, that might be thoughts, that might be where your breath is landing, take a moment to cultivate an awareness of what's happening in this vehicle that you reside in today. And take your time to breathe. Notice if there's places that might need a little extra time. And so maybe you send your breath to those places and stay there. And as you continue to breathe, as you continue to explore how you're feeling in your body, maybe you start to deepen your breath, bringing it from the base of your belly all the way up towards your heart. And then letting everything soften back down. And take a few more cycles like this. As you inhale, draw the breath from your belly to your ribs, to your heart space. And as you exhale, let everything drop back down. One more in this space. Take a deep breath in, biggest breath thus far. And a big breath out. Option to keep your arms down. You might connect your hands towards your heart or towards each other. And setting an intention for your practice today, we will be working with stability as well as mobility. And so what does it feel like to both allow yourself to find strength, foundation, but without getting stuck or stagnant? And so what is your relationship between fluidity and freedom and movement without letting yourself get lost up into the ethers? And so exploring that balance today as you move. And take another cycle of breath wherever you've landed. Option to let your exhale out through your mouth. Release your palms down, slide off of your blanket or towel, and we'll all come to lie down on the floor. You can take a bend into your knees to begin. And once you get there, I'm going to keep my hands on my hips, but you might choose to take your arms out wide, palms face, cactus, or as you're comfortable. And then we'll start by extending the right of your right heel. One more inhale. And exhale. Start to point and flex through your right foot. So as you point, you might start to feel all the way into your shin, into your quadricep. And as you flex, feeling the stretch in your calf and in your hamstring. And then continue with the point and the flex, or maybe you start to take some circles with your ankle. And as you circle your foot, circle your ankle, you might notice you feel it on the inner or outer lines of your knee. So just continuing that exploration of finding movement in one part of your body and then finding sensation in another part. Slowly start to bring your ankle back to a flex position, toes towards your head, and then turn your toes out to the right. So you've got external hip rotation, and then turn your toes back to center. So now feeling your hip socket moving as you turn the toes to the right, turn the toes to center. Last one, turn your toes out to the right, bend your knee, right ankle to left thigh. Take your right hand onto the inside line of your right leg, and you might give yourself a gentle press away. So feeling a little more space in the front of that right hip. Take a deep breath in here. Deep breath out. Stay right here and breathe, or if you'd like, left foot to the block. Maybe you hug your left knee in, interlace your fingers behind you, and then extend your left heel to the ceiling. And take a deep breath in. And soften your shoulders as you breathe out. One more. Rebend into the left knee. If it's extended, bring your left foot down to the ground. Slide your right knee on top of your left knee. And then hug your knees up. So knees are stacked more or less over your hips. Imagine your shins and your feet can hug together. So that might give a little more space on the outside of your hips. And then take your left elbow over your right elbow, single or double wrap. So first option is going to be to stay right here, pulling everything towards center. As you inhale, send your hands back, send your feet forward. As you exhale, find that little crunch as you draw elbows to knee. Nice. 2 more times. Inhale, extension. That might arch into your low back slightly. And then exhale, navel to the floor, elbows to knee. 1 more time. Inhale. And exhale. Come back to neutral. Unravel your arms this time. Take them wide, cactus or T. Bring your left foot back down to the ground. Flex into your right foot, extend your right foot high to the ceiling, and then bend your knee, hug your right knee in towards your chest, extend your left leg long, place it all the way onto the floor. And then with your hands on your shin or behind your thigh, take some circles with your right knee. So you're moving into the mobility and range of motion in your right hip. And it doesn't matter which way you start. These can be as big or as slow as you want. Whatever direction you're going, when you're ready, go ahead, swap directions. And you might notice one way feels a little bit more easeful than the other. They might feel equal. So just taking note. And then bring your right knee back to center. Release your right foot to the floor. Flex into your left foot nice and strong. And then lift your left leg all the way up to the ceiling. Keep a nice flex into your foot. Breathe from your hamstring to your calf to your heel. Take a deep inhale. Deep exhale. Start to find some point and flex. Notice how the movement of your ankle translates down into the front of your leg on the point and in the back of your leg on the flex. And then keep going with the point and flex, or you might start to find ankle rolls here. And that might start to talk to the outside and inside lines of your knees. So just noticing, again, where the movement is happening and then where you feel it in your body. Nice. Okay, go ahead, come back to center with the flex foot. Turn your left toes out to the left, find that hip rotation, and then turn your toes back to center. Again, left toes to the left, back to center. One more time, left toes to the left, bend your knee, left ankle to right thigh. Take your left hand on the inside line of your left leg and gently press away. So you've got that figure 4 shape, creating a little space in the front of the left hip. Take a deep breath in and out. Option to stay right here, take your right foot onto a block. Maybe you hug your right knee in, interlace behind your thigh, flex into your right heel, send that right heel to the ceiling. And soften through your head, neck, and shoulders. Take a full cycle in and out. One more inhale. On your exhale, rebend your right leg if it's extended. Sole of your right foot finds the floor. Slide your left knee on top of your right knee. So you've got your stack. And then hug your knees so they're about over your hips, and then draw your shins and your feet together. So you can kind of pull to midline, open up some space in the hips, and then right arm over left, find your eagle. As you inhale, feet forward, hands back. And then as you exhale, navel to the floor, elbow to knee. Yes, 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more inhale. And exhale. Head, neck, and shoulders come back down. Unravel your arms, cactus or a T. Bring your right foot to the floor. Flex your left foot. And then bend your left knee, hug your left knee into your chest, extend your right leg all the way long to place it on the floor. And then explore your range of motion in your left hip. So you can take some circles, again, as big as you want, as small as you want, just noticing the movement of your hip. And then option to swap the direction. If you haven't already, you can come play around with that. And go ahead, bring yourself back to neutral. Bring the sole of your left foot to the floor. Slide your right foot in to meet it so both of your knees are bent, feet are about hip width distance apart. Press your palms down by your hips, palms face down to the earth. Maybe you wiggle your feet in a little bit. When we go, we want our knees to be stacked over the feet more or less. And then take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you exhale, press down into your feet as you lift your hip points up. Keep your gaze towards the ceiling. And then exhale, release your hips back down. So starting to wake up the backs of your legs, press your feet down, lift your hips up, engage your glutes. Exhale, release back down. One more time, press down, lift your hips up. This time we'll stay here. Press your feet to the ground, and then imagine you can pull your feet back towards your glutes. So you might notice that your knees just went forward a little bit, sort of activated not only the glutes, but now the hamstrings are waking up. Take another inhale here. And as you exhale, release your hips back down to the ground. Extend your legs out long. Reach your arms all the way up and back so that you've got a long stretch from fingers to toes. Take a full breath in here. And a full breath out. One more inhale. As you exhale, bend one knee, then the other. Both knees hug in towards your chest. Keep your knees a little bit wider and take some side to side rocks or some circular motions. Massage out your low lumbar. Maybe you find kind of like that sweet spot when you roll to one side. Hang there for a little bit if it feels good. All right, and then come back to center, holding on to your shins or behind your thighs. Option to rock and roll forward and back, or you might roll to one side, and eventually we'll all meet on hands and knees towards the tabletop. Okay, so once you find yourself in your tabletop, find the foundation of your palms, find the foundation of your legs, and then shimmy that left shin in just a tiny bit more towards midline. Extend your right leg all the way to the back of your mat, toes face down. And then bend into your right knee so the sole of the foot is facing the ceiling. And as you inhale, take a little pulse, foot towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, tuck your right knee behind your left knee. Inhale, lift up, little pulse. Exhale, tuck behind. Yes. One more time. Inhale for that pulse. Exhale, tuck behind. Inhale, lift the right leg high. And then exhale, bring your right knee in line with your hip again. Keep the knee bent. Then re-extend your right leg so you're energizing out through that back heel. And as you exhale, this time draw your knee towards your nose, press to your palms, round into your upper back. Inhale, send your heel back, crown forward. Exhale, knee towards nose. Inhale, extend. And exhale. This time, as you extend, lift your gaze forward, place your right toes to the floor, step your left foot back to meet it, high plank. Send your hips up and back all the way to your downward facing dog, and then adjust here as needed. Bend into your knees, walk your feet further away or closer, take some sways. One more cycle of breath wherever you're exploring. On your next inhale, rise all the way up to your tippy toes. And as you exhale, bend your knees. We're going to come back to tabletop, but take it nice and slow. Take your time, take your time. And knees to the ground. Untuck your toes, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. This time your right shin will come a little bit more towards midline. Send your left leg long behind you, flex into your foot, send the energy out through your back heel, and then bend into your left knee. Yep, sole of the foot reaches up, and then exhale, tuck your left knee behind your right knee. 2 more times, inhale to lift. Exhale to tuck. And then notice if you're hanging out in the right hip joint, press down into your right shin. Come up out of your hip joint a little and tuck behind. Last one here. So as you inhale, lift the left knee. As you exhale, bring it back to about hip height. Take 1 inhale. And then exhale, extend your leg long. Stay here for a breath in. And as you exhale, knee towards nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, draw in. Inhale, extend. Exhale in. Inhale, extend your left leg back. Left toes find the floor. Step your right leg back to meet it, high plank. Press your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Again, adjust the lower body as needed. Press down into your palms, lift up from your hip point. So imagine your tailbone and your hips might lift a little higher, letting your heart sink a little lower. Take a full cycle of breath in here. And out. Bend into your knees, look forward, walk to the front of your mat, Uttanasana. Inhale for a half lift. Right away tonight, exhale, palms to the ground, step your right foot all the way back. Drop down into your right knee, tuck or untuck your toes, press down, rise up, low lunge. And then exhale, palms to the ground, retuck your back toes, lift your knee, pivot to the wide edge of your mat, all 10 toes, and then we're going to bend into the back right knee, Skandasana. Pivot back to the front of your mat, low runner's lunge. Step your back foot to meet your front foot, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Left foot steps back. Drop your left knee, tuck or untuck your toes. Press down, rise up. Think of pressing your left shin down. Nice. Exhale, hands to the floor. Tuck the left toes, lift your left knee, pivot to the long edge of your mat. Keep going as you bend into your back left knee, and then pivot back to the front of your mat, low runner's lunge. Step your back foot to meet your front foot, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Press to your feet, reach all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, hands to your heart, release Tadasana. So 2 options here. You might keep your feet hip width distance, or you might walk your feet closer towards each other. Bend into your knees, reach your arms up, Utkatasana chair pose. So if knees are hip width distance, just notice if the knees knock in, try to keep them about at that hip height. If knees are together, you can kind of use that to press together. Now, think of your hamstrings behind your legs moving back and even further behind you. Think of your knees moving forward. So maybe you shift the weight a little bit into your heels, kind of bring the awareness into the back of your legs, and then arms can reach to the ceiling or arms can come to your heart. Keep pressing into your heels, send your hamstrings back, send your knees forward, engage through your core. One more breath here. And as you exhale, straighten your legs forward, fold. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground, step your right foot back, followed by your left high plank. This time, shift it forward with or without your knees, lower down to belly. Untuck your toes, unravel to an up dog or baby cobra. Tuck your toes, engage your core, up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and out. One more inhale. Exhale. Bend your knees, look forward, walk, step, or hop between your hands. Inhale to a half lift. Exhale, fold. Press down, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart, release Tadasana. Second round of chair pose. Bend into your knees, reach your arms up and overhead. So again, feet might be a little bit wider, feet might be together. So this time we're going to add some movement to it. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, reach your palms back, sits bones back. So you move towards your skier's pose. Yep. And then press to your feet, arms reach all the way up and overhead, straighten your legs, look up. Again, exhale, bend your knees, palms back, crown reaches forward. Inhale, press down, rise high. Last one, exhale, bend your knees, reach back. Inhale, press down, rise high. This time, exhale, fold all the way forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground, left foot will lead first, followed by the right high plank. Vinyasa of your choice or straight to down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Take a full breath in. Full breath out. Last one. Look forward, step your right foot forward between your hands. Take your time to settle into the right foot and then ground your back left heel. Press down into your feet, lift yourself up, warrior two. So think of that hip rotation we've been working with. Drop down into your warrior, actively engage your back thigh. Expand your arms out wide, option to shift your gaze forward. And then imagine you can pull your feet towards each other. So it's an isometric motion. Not much is going to happen visually, but probably a lot's going to happen in the legs. So imagine you can pull your heels together. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, soften that. Maybe you drop down into your warrior. We'll do that one more time. Pull everything to midline. Imagine this time too, you can also pull up the energy of your abdominals. Keep holding, and then soften that, warrior two. Flip your front palm, reach up and back, reverse your warrior. Nice. Exhale, windmill your hands down. Pivot to the toes of your back foot, and then drop your back left knee, untuck your toes. Press down, rise up, low lunge. We're going to keep it a little bit higher. And then heel toe your right foot a little bit more to the right. So it's a little bit wider than hip width distance. And as you exhale, bring your hands down onto the inside line of that right foot, onto the floor or onto blocks. Yes. Stay here and breathe. Notice if your right hip goes to the side, think of drawing your right hip back in space. You can keep your left leg down or tuck your toes, lift your back left leg. And then yogi yogini's choice. I'm going to stay up on my fingertips, but if it's appropriate for you, you might come down onto blocks on the floor, excuse me, forearms on blocks or forearms on the floor. If that compromises the hips, right? If you start to sink in the hip joints, think of coming up a little bit higher. We want to think of stabilizing through the hip joints. Take another inhale. And exhale. If you're down low, walk yourself back up onto your hands. Lift your back leg if it's down, and then pivot to the long edge of your mat. Adjust your toes so your feet line up, and then send your hip points back. So there's like a little cow spine even, and walk your palms forward. Let your heart space melt down, engage through your quadriceps. Take a deep breath in. And out. One more. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Pivot towards the front of your mat, low runner's lunge. Step your front foot to meet your back foot, high plank. Vinyasa of your choice or straight up and back, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And out. One more here. Gaze to the front of your mat, step your left foot forward. Take your time to settle into that left foot and then ground down through your back right foot. Firm press down, rise all the way up, warrior two. So again, we're gonna find the hips by drawing the feet together. That's gonna bring some energy up into the inner lines of the legs. Isometric pull, everything comes to center. Take a full breath in. And then release that effort. Maybe you find a little more space. Yes, and we'll do that again. Imagine the heels can pull in, so everything's pulling to center. And then you might even translate that into the low abdominals as you draw in and up. Keep holding the effort. And then exhale, release. Stay in your warrior two for one more breath in. And out. Flip your front palm, reach forward, up and back, reverse your warrior. Windmill your hands down, pivot to the toes of your back foot. Take a moment to set up and then drop your back knee, untuck your toes. Press down, rise up, low lunge. Heel toe your left foot a little bit wider than hip width distance to the left. Walk your hands back down on the inside line of your left leg. And then this is where you might stay. Again, notice if the hips sway to the left, press your left foot down, draw your left hip back in space. Stay here and breathe. You might tuck your right toes, lift your right knee. You might come down onto blocks on your forearms or onto the floor. But again, we want to keep the stability of the hips. So if we're just hanging out, sinking in, maybe come up higher so you can think of pressing your right heel back, your left knee forward. Take another inhale. And exhale. If you're on your forearms, come up onto hands. Lift your right knee. Second round, we'll pivot to the long edge of your mat. Adjust your feet so toes and heels more or less feel in line. And again, walk your hands forward, contract through your quadriceps, find some space in your hamstrings. Take a deep breath in. And out. One more. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Pivot to the front of your mat, low runner's lunge. And then while you can see, look around, know where your blocks are, and then step your front foot to meet the back foot, high plank. Shift forward, wither out your knees, lower all the way down to belly. Untuck your toes. Okay, grab a block. And if you don't have a block, then that's okay too. You can do this without a block. So we're going to start with the left leg. The block is going to come at the highest height, and you're going to tuck it right at the base of your bum, where your hamstring meets your bum. Michelle's laughing. She knows what's happening. And then bend your left knee so your heel holds the block in place. If you don't have a block, you can simply bend your left knee so you're hugging your left heel towards the glute. Bring your head down onto your hands. I'll keep my head up so you can hear. And this is where you might choose to stay. You're really engaging that back hamstring. You're really engaging that back glute. Press the top of your right foot down. Stay here. Or you might start to lift the left knee and then lower it. Lift the left knee and lower. One more time, lift the left knee and lower. Reach back, remove your block, very gently extend your left leg long, forehead to your hands, option to rock your hips out a little bit here from side to side. All right, take a breather. When you're ready, we'll take that to the other side. So the block will be on the highest height at a slight angle as you bring it right kind of where your hamstring meets your glute, and then bend into your right knee so that your heel holds the block in place. And again, simply this action of drawing the knee in is already going to engage your back body. So you might choose to stay there. Press your left foot, top of your left foot down to the ground. Stay here, or gently lift the right knee just a little and lower. 2 more times. Lift your right knee and lower. 1 more time, little bit of a lift and lower. Slowly reach back for your block. Remove your block, extend your right leg. Again, head to your hands. You might rock your hips, or this time bend into your knees and take a little side to side rock with a prone windshield wiper. All right, nice. If you're taking any sort of rock, gently start to bring yourself back to center. Extend both of your legs long, tuck your toes underneath, slide your hands so they're back underneath your shoulders. Draw your elbows towards your ribs and engage your abdominals. So find the stability in your front body so you find some stability in your low back. Reverse push up or press up to tabletop, and we'll all meet in downward facing dog. Take a bend to your knees here. So we just did a lot of hamstring work, so I don't want to overdo it with hamstring extension now. So take a little bend to your knees if that feels good. And at the base of your next exhale, look forward, walk, step, or hop between your hands, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And press down, reach your arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, hands to your heart, Tadasana. All right, so 2 options for our balance today. First option is going to be tree pose. Base leg will be your right leg, sole of your left foot to your ankle, calf, or up into your thigh, as long as you're not on the knee joint, and finding that rotation of the hip out. So that's variation A. Variation B is going to be more of that figure 4 we took earlier. So you can take your feet hip width distance apart, bend into your knees, reach up for a chair pose. Shift the weight to your right foot. Take your left ankle to right thigh, let your knee drop out. So similar to what we did lying down, but now we're adding the balance component. Draw in on your abdominals for that support, hands at your heart or hands reach up high. And then notice if your hips sway all the way out to the right, what does it feel like to kind of pull back a little bit? Maybe sit back a little bit. Yes. Option to stay upright, or if you're craving it, you might bring your forearms down towards your shin. So similar to what we did earlier. Yes. Put a nice flex into that lifted left foot. Yep. Nice one. Sorry, I got excited. I might have thrown you off. All right. And then if you're folding forward, engage your abdominals, lift your torso. We're going to keep going. Press down into your right foot, hug your left knee all the way in and up, and then release your left foot down to the ground. Tadasana mountain pose. Or feet wide, shake it, dance it, rock it. Roll the ankles, flutter your lips if you held your breath. All right. I see some hand clap. Yes, I like it. Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead, come back to center. So again, second round, you might choose to take tree pose. Left leg will be your base leg. Sole of your foot to your ankle, calf, or inner thigh, just not the knee joint. Or feet stay hip width distance. Bend your knees, rise up. So a bit of a wider chair stance. Shift the weight to your left foot. And think of pressing the foot down. Let the strength of the press translate all the way up into your hip. Right ankle towards left thigh. You find that figure 4. So very similar to what we did lying down, we're adding the balance component, adding the stability. Draw the navel in and up, find that strength there. Yes. If at any point you want to take the hinge, think of the hips going back like we did earlier, kind of your hamstring extending back, your knee extending forward, and then you might fold yourself down a little. Yes. Nice job. All right, here we go. If you're folding, start to lift the torso. Keep pressing into your base leg. Lift your right knee all the way in and up. Place your right foot down to the floor. Tadasana. Whew. Big exhale, option to dance it out. Rock it, shake it, roll your ankles, anything you need here. All right, nice. And then if you're not at the front of your mat, make your way back to the front of your mat, Tadasana mountain pose. And then soften through your knees. I find sometimes in balancing, we can drop into the low back. So I would like to take a twist before we fold. Inhale, arms up. Soften to your knees. And as you exhale, twist to the right, extend your arms forward and back. Option to send your gaze back. Inhale, bring everything to center, gaze to center. And then exhale, twist to the left, arms forward and back. Inhale, everything back to center. Exhale, hands to your low back, elbows draw in, heart space lifts, legs engage. And then soft bend to your knees, turn inward as you fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, palms to the ground. Either foot can lead. Last vinyasa here if you're craving it, or skip it and we'll all meet in downward facing dog. An option to pedal out in your down dog or stay in stillness. Make your way back to center. Inhale, lift up to your tippy toes. Last time here, exhale, slowly lower. So use the strength of your core to lower your knees down. Eventually, you'll find a tabletop. Crisscross or sweep your feet to the side and come to a seat. All right, locate your blanket and option to have one block handy and nearby. Okay, so I want to start with Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees drop out wide, and then yogi yogini's choice on how close you want your feet. So your feet might be pretty close to your sits bones, or you might move them further forward. Kind of play around with what's best for your knees. Maybe you place blocks under your knees here. And then inhale, lift up. Actively press the pinky blades of your feet together. So like we did in Warrior 2, little bit of a press to the feet is going to start to wake up the inside lines of the thighs. and then release that effort and see how the legs and the hips kind of soften back down. Again, press the pinky blades of your feet together. You might notice your knees lift a little bit, the hips engage, inner lines of the thighs are active. And then release that. One more time. Press the pinky blades together. Feel how everything kind of pulls in. And then release that. This time with the release, you might choose to fold forward, forehead to a block. Hands can be wide, hands can be on your feet, whatever you prefer with the upper body, and breathe. If you're folding forward, start by sending your gaze forward. And as you lift your gaze, start to lift your head and eventually lift your entire torso back up to a tall seat. Okay, two options here. Option to take your crisscross leg position with your right foot in front. That'll be the first option. Or take your right shin in front, so it parallel-ish to the front of the mat. And then I like to take my hands and support my foot and my knee on that left side. Bring your left pinky blade towards your right inner thigh, kind of like around the knee, but not on the knee joint. Here's where a block comes in super handy. So if the left knee is high, bring a block underneath to support that. Might be on the highest height, the medium, the lowest height. Maybe you don't have a block and you let the knee rest down. So again, you might take a cross-legged position here as well. Once you find your lower body, take your arms up and overhead, bend into both of your elbows, and then lift your elbows up, engage your core. So you're really sitting back on your sits bones. You've got a frame above you and a frame below you. Stay here and breathe, or as you exhale, hinge at your hips, start to send your torso forward. And then at your tipping point, release the bind of your arms, bring your hands down to the floor or to blocks, fold over your crisscross seat or over the fire log legs. Yep, nice. Take another breath in. And out. One more inhale. Exhale. Press down into the earth, start to lift your torso back up. Again, use your hands to support you as you release your left foot to the floor. And then slide your right foot in to meet it. You can choose to stay here, hands on your shins, neutral hips, neutral spine. Or if you want to take your hands to your sides, on or off your blanket, you might choose to take a windshield wiper. So see if it feels better to stay in stillness or it feels better to find some movement. Okay, so we're going to take that to the other side. Come back to neutral. This time you can take your left foot in front of your right foot if you're doing the crisscross, or you'll take your left shin. And again, it's parallel-ish, right? We all have different joints, so it's going to be different. So left shin more or less parallel to the front. Use your hands as you take your pinky blade of your right foot over in the direction of that knee. And again, this side might be similar. It might be super different. Maybe you place a block underneath the knee, any height. You might place a blanket under the knee. You might let your right knee drop down. Nice. And then take your arms up and overhead. Again, bend into your elbows, frame up above you. And then likely you just put the same forearm on top. So reverse your forearm. So the awkward one's on top. Yeah. And then press down into your sits bones, lift up, engage through your center point. So framing up below you, framing up above you, take an inhale to your center. And if it feels okay, start to hinge at your hips. And eventually your arms will release, finding floor or the block as you fold. Deep breath in. And out. We'll maintain here for 2 more. Wherever you are, start to lift yourself back up to a neutral position. Use your hands to support your legs as you once more unravel. Both of your feet will find the floor about hip width distance. The second round, you might choose to stay at center, stay at neutral, or again, hands can come by your sides and take a second round of a windshield wiper from one side to the other. Start to bring yourself back to center if you're moving. Extend your legs out long. I'll turn sideways. Activate through both of your feet. Send the energy out through your heels. Soften through your knees, hands to the ground, crown of your head to the sky. And as you exhale, start to take a fold forward. Let your torso get heavy. So option to round into your back, walk your hands forward to the floor. Maybe you connect to toes. Maybe you find a strap here. So anything you want to give you some space in the back lines of your legs. And exhale as you soften. We'll stay here for 3 more. When you're ready, if your gaze is down, start by lifting your gaze. Let that lift your head, your neck, your shoulders, your torso as you come all the way up to a tall seat. Slide off of your blanket. Set that off to the side. And again, make your way all the way down onto your back. Keep a bend into your knees here. Let your hip points get heavy. And you can choose to stay here. Maybe you take constructive rest. If it feels nice to draw the knees in towards your chest, knees a little wide, take another rock here. You might choose to do that. Maybe some circles. And then any other movement that you want. And so check in with your body, ask what it is that you can do or maybe not do that would feel good. It might feel nice when you're ready to take a supine Baddha Konasana. Soles of your feet together, knees drop out wide. Great place to place a block for support underneath each of your legs. And so when you are ready for your final shape, take your time getting there. You might take a combination. So you might do constructive rest and then Shavasana, or maybe Shavasana, then Baddha Konasana. So just know that you always have the option to adjust. And as you find yourself in your final shape of this practice, come back into that steady rhythm of your breath. Letting go of all of the effort, the focus, the concentration. And at this point, allowing yourself to notice the sensations that arise when you give yourself some time to rest. Slowly begin to bring in attention and awareness back into your breath body. And as you start to deepen your breath, bring that same awareness and attention into your physical body. If your knees are wide, option to take your hands to support your legs as you gently draw your knees towards one another. If your legs are extended in your own time, you can bend into your knees so both your feet find the floor, and we'll all meet lying down, knees bent, feet to the earth. And take a moment and breathe here. And then when you feel ready, allow yourself to drop over to your favorite side. Your head can rest heavy in whatever arm is underneath you. And take a moment here. When you feel ready from this space, you can start to press up onto your shins or onto your sits bones. Eyes might stay closed or find a soft gaze forward once more. Hands can connect onto your heart and belly towards each other, staying on your legs. And take a deep breath in through your nose. And exhale everything out. Thank you so much for exploring, for finding the release that strength can bring us, for sharing your practice, sharing your time, and sharing your energy. Namaste. Thank you very much.